Welcome to episode 42 of the Chi-Town Shoot Wrestling Podcast. I'm Marcin, and joining me in the squared circle are Chris, David, and Andres is somewhere. We're coming at you from the heart of the wrestling world, Chicago, Illinois, bringing you the latest news, hottest takes, and all things WWE and AEW. Questions or thoughts, send them over to chi-town-shoot-podcast@gmail.com. Without further ado, gents, welcome to another episode. We're recording not long after Monday Night Raw finished, and I was able to watch it. Chris, did you get a glimpse of any of it by any chance? Or
Nope,
were you busy playing Tekken?
I was eyeballs deep in Tekken 8, getting my
How's that
rank
going?
done. I got my groove back, I think. I don't know if it's the like I'm guessing because the ranking system now has like filtered out to find people that are like more or less close to your skill level. I think it's just
Mm-hmm.
helping to kind of like play, cuz like before, even like a couple months ago, I mean, you'll get some, Tekken God, and you're fighting.
Bring them on.
Yeah, right. Like you'll still win those, but like the odds are like just not in your favor. But
How do
yeah, I mean, yeah,
what makes you kind of like go in and out of it? Because I feel like you have like these peaks and valleys where you're like super invested in it, and then you're like training, and then you're like, I think I'm losing, and then you
Game
just
sucks.
yeah. Is it just because like you get like distracted by like other games, so you just kind of put it to the side, or like what's your thought process when you're approaching Tekken, or I guess other Tekken. Let's say
yeah.
Tekken.
Well, I was playing Death Stranding 1 and 2, so that took up like 2 months of time or whatever it's been. um, and
Yeah,
I'm still doing like VR stuff here and there if I'm sitting on the couch, if I'm just hanging out upstairs, but Uh, I was just asking myself. I was like, what's next? What's gonna kind of occupy my time with video games? So Tekken and like fighting games in general, I feel like you can just jump in and out of it because it isn't a game you like beat. You know, you just jump in, you jump on ranked or whatever, and then you start playing. And then if you don't want to
also has a
play, you stop.
story.
I mean, that's true.
Also
Yeah,
has a story.
yeah. I haven't even touched that second the Heihachi story thing yet. It's there though, but yeah, it was just other stuff occupied my time. That's the best way to put it.
That's fair. But yeah, Monday Night Raw happened. Unfortunately, no Karrion Kross showed up. Karrion Kross, I feel like, has been the topic of conversation for, I'd say, the past 3 or 4 days, because his contract expired, I think, either today or yesterday. And people are speculating that it's part of a work because WWE has this new philosophy of everything counts. Um, and yeah, what do you guys think about this whole Karrion Cross debacle? I feel like he's been like a topic of conversation on the Chi-Town Shoot podcast, and we've all had varying opinions on him. I watched his documentary, the second part that got released. I think it was yesterday or yeah, it was Sunday. And honestly, the guy does have a mind for the business and his philosophy and how he talks about things, how he views specific, like just life and people and how he approaches things. I really kind of respect it. And yeah, I mean, it kind of sucks that they seemingly don't have anything for him and they just let his contract expire. But I don't know, David, what do you think? What do you think about the whole Karrion Cross thing? Karrion Cross, do you think this is a work? Any thoughts?
I think it's a work. If it's not a work, it's got a lot of clearance.
Mm-hmm.
So at least it's like, okay, go get whatever off your chest and go wrestle and come back.
Yeah. Chris,
Yeah.
what do you think, huh? Well, you've talked about
He said,
I mean, just
boy.
how he's going off on the company and certain things in that respect. That's what just kind of gives me the idea that it's like some kind of a work or something. Like they're just trying to make it very elaborate. I think they're still building it to the point where he'll probably just show up like, what's he doing here? Like, that kind of a thing. Pops in on a pay-per-view. His contract expired. Like I could just see it now.
It could be a thing where it was technically real, like R-Truth was actually let go and people thought it was a work, and then they bring him back because they wanted him to be on the show. So I feel like maybe it could be something in the middle. Because like one thing that I think is curious, like Scarlett and Killer Cross now, they have like shirts up on Pro Wrestling Tees. Now I don't know like what kind if this was, let's say theoretically, if this is a work and this is just part of it, like a plan, uh, is WWE okay with them having shirts on ProWrestlingTees.com?
Bet you
The
they got some
legends
kind
have
of
them.
backdoor deal or whatever. They're like, yeah, I'll get
No,
a cut
Ask
still.
Matt Nix.
no,
Yeah.
it's just on it. It's on the name. It's Killer. It's not Carrion.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Like they still get like CM Punk designs that aren't WWE
I guess that's true.
That's true.
and
I guess
other
it
and
doesn't
like
say Scar.
other legends too.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I guess it doesn't
true.
say Scarlet Bordeaux on her shirt. I think it just says Hex Appeal, which is a pretty cool shirt. But yeah, it could be a work. I mean, I guess we'll see. It's just still super early as of this recording. Like their contract literally expired less than 24 hours ago. And just because he didn't show up on Raw doesn't mean he's not showing up
Right.
later during a PLE or
Vaca-
whatever. Maybe,
PTO like
yeah,
Roman.
maybe, yeah, exactly. Maybe he got PTO, and in the actual like documentary itself, like he says that he does not want to leave WWE. Like that's a place where he wants to like make his career. So I don't think it's for a matter of not trying to work out a deal, but I do hope like it works out, and I think you can find a spot for him. I think he's just like a great talker, and he just needs an opportunity and an outlet to like really do it, not just the backstage segments or like trying to be with like Sami Zayn and trying to make them turn into a bad guy or
Be a
whatever.
bad guy. Be bad. It's fun.
Yeah,
Come
like
on,
do more
Sammy.
than that. And he's
Let's
been,
be bad.
and I hope like maybe like Sammy does turn heel for whatever reason, and then like something comes out of it because there was like this build up for this, and then he beats Karrion Cross, and then I guess that's it. Maybe that was the proof. Like, oh, I'm not a bad guy. So I beat you. But yeah, lots of news. So, like the Karrion Cross thing isn't the only thing that happened. We knew that Peacock, the deal with WWE and NBC Universal with Peacock was expiring next year. One of the big stories that came out in the past week was WWE Premium Live events will air on ESPN platforms in the United States in 2026. And at present, WWE's streaming rights are all varied, and each of their weekly shows air on a different platform or channel. You got Monday Night Raw on Netflix. You have NXT on the CW. You have WWE SmackDown on the USA Network domestically. And yeah, now the PLEs, and it doesn't say specifically if it's like it's just as the PLEs. It doesn't say about the library, so that'll be interesting, and we'll talk about it after I finish this. But so a new press release from the companies. They did a joint press release. They confirmed that ESPN will air the shows domestically beginning in January. According to CNBC, ESPN will pay WWE an average of $325 million per year for 5 years. The deal includes 10 WWE PLEs a year, including WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, and more. And the deal begins in 2026. PLEs will stream on ESPN's new $29.99 per month direct-to-consumer platform in the United States, and select events will be simulcast on ESPN's linear networks, which I think means cable. In many ways, this is our destiny, said TKO president Mark Shapiro. If you want to expand the audience, our fan base, the fervor around WWE, and grow on a real significant national scale, you can't do that as it relates to the sports world without partnering with ESPN. Our place was built as the entertainment and sports programming network, said ESPN chairman Jimmy Pitaro, referencing the literal meaning of the acronym ESPN. This is a fantastic way for us to expand our audience. It's younger, it's more diverse, and it's more female than what we see at the network level. And ESPN's new streaming service is officially set to launch on August 21st. But WWE PLEs, I don't think will start until like February or March because I think their deal like ends on a specific month, but maybe they got out of it. Like maybe it's not completely up to like February because I think like Royal Rumble will be a good place to start airing their stuff. But yeah, so that's the new deal in the United States. Netflix, of course, airs all of WWE's weekly shows and PLEs in Europe. So now let's open the floor up and talk about this whole deal. So, Chris, what do you think? What does this ESPN deal mean for WWE's future in the U.S. streaming landscape? Do you think it's a smart move, or do you think it's a risky choice?
I mean, I think it's just the general sentiment of, paying for another subscription service. I think that's a pretty common reaction, I think, so far for this. Is it's another thing that needs to be stacked upon, the endless streaming services to get and watch whatever it is that you're trying to watch. So that's my initial reaction. That was my initial reaction. What else can I say? I mean, it kind of sucks that, it's another thing, but, we all figure it out one way or another, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. David, same question. What do you think it means for WWE's future in the U.S. streaming landscape, and do you think it's a smart move, or is it risky?
I think it's cool. I think it'll do it. I think they'll fix up the presentation, like in terms of like card length.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
So you think they're going to expand the card?
yeah, and I know there'll be ads, especially like in the simulcast, but I feel like the ads will kind of go down.
Mm. I mean, I think that's interesting. I think for me, like looking at this deal, and this is why I kind of don't think that the ads will go away. Like for WWE, I think from a monetary perspective, like when I first heard that they struck a deal with Netflix for Raw, I thought it was an inevitability that everything else would follow because the deal in the rest of the world was Netflix has everything. So we thought that in the United States, we'd follow a similar route. But I think for them, it probably, I mean, instead of giving Netflix everything, I think them doing this from a business standpoint makes them more money. Like, sucks for us that, we have to have like these 4 or 5 different streaming
Yeah,
services. But I think from WWE's perspective, it's like, well, like Netflix gave us this much, and then ESPN basically gave us like double
yeah,
just for 10 PLEs. And I get it, like you're trying to make money, and I don't think I feel like the advertising will stay the same because it's like, well, look, big money source, and now still like we have all these ads and sponsorships. So I personally don't think that's going away. I think it's just stacking on top of like, all right, we made a shit ton of money, now we're making more money. And I think that's like point blank where like the reasoning, of course, because it's a business,
yeah.
so can't really put it past them.
It
But
helps too
yeah,
with
go ahead.
it's probably really smart for them to be presented on the same channel as everybody that they have to show up to Fanatics Fest with.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I
Chris,
wonder.
you
I
were gonna say
wonder.
something?
Yeah, I wonder what the production value is going to be like because I know Triple H or it was Nick Khan I think who was saying that that they're gonna change some stuff or add stuff and there's going to be more than ever before. Like I want to know what that even means to how much bigger can you make a pay-per-view? You know what I mean, or a PLE? I'm sorry.
I
Right.
feel like they're all gonna look like all in.
Yeah. I mean, it could
Yeah. Or
it
feel
could
like
just
all in.
it could just be PR speak, of course, but I feel like, um,
10 all-ins a year. Let's go.
Right.
yeah,
Conveniently
uh,
scheduled exactly on every AEW pay-per-view every single time.
yeah. We could talk about that later, but um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that looks like because so is it really just like, oh, like the United States deal is just so great? Like that's the tipping point where they make a like more grandiose programming, because like the rest of the world still has Netflix for 6 or 7 years. So I guess like just because of this deal, this might be bigger just because it's like a deal with in the United States. I don't know. Um,
I
so
initially
that'll be
was
interesting.
I
Yeah.
was I was thinking that the ESPN, like logically I was trying to think like why ESPN, and I was like, oh, because UFC and all that kind of stuff. But then they just signed recently to Paramount, I think like today or
Right.
whatever it was. So I don't know.
Mm.
Confusion.
They'll still get coverage there.
Yeah, and I probably for UFC, I mean for TKO, like they probably got like a bigger deal from Paramount. Be like, oh, like Paramount, we need like more content that people will gravitate towards. And
They're about to
UFC, I mean,
put
they
the
paid them
network
like
on there.
2 billion for it. So I think it really is just like dollars and cents, not necessarily like, oh, let's just house everything in one area. They're not looking at convenience perspective. They're looking for at like, oh, we're making more money
Yeah,
if we put our property here. And
Right.
who wants to have a
who's the highest,
license for us? Yeah.
yeah, who's the highest bidder? So can't blame them. But with ESPN's $29.99 monthly streaming fee, do you feel like fans will be willing to pay more for WPLEs, or do you think this could lead a drop in viewership
They'll
in
definitely
whoever?
they'll be a hit for sure. Because I've even like with some friends who are saying it's like, nah, I ain't paying that extra, whatever it is, 29.99 or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
a month. So that's already. I mean, there's definitely that sentiment. Like you spend even a couple minutes on like Twitter verse or anywhere else online in the comment section, like there's a lot of that stuff. So I imagine. I mean, I'm curious what it's gonna look like. So I don't know how much of it, but I think there definitely will be some kind of a drop. I imagine. So we'll
David?
see.
I don't think it'll be. I think if there's a drop, it's not going to be anything that hurts them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's something that everybody's just going to be like, all right, I got to adapt to it, whatever.
Yeah.
I think so too. Do you
Throw their
think
fit.
do you feel like there's like an audience that is like still doesn't know what WWE is that like they could take advantage of when they go to ESPN? Do you think that exists? Or do you feel
Oh,
like it's
yeah.
just like oh, what is this WWE thing? I normally watch, WNBA and boxing and football, but I guess I'll check out, Royal Rumble. Do you feel like that
Oh,
exists?
yeah. Oh, big time. Like, so, like, like, so, I mean, I'm only speaking for myself, but it's like I watched a shit ton of ESPN, like, growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And see,
like in
like
the
this is
morning.
perfect. This is perfect for you because, like, for me, I'm just like the geek nerd who's like, yeah, I could say I kind of watch sports, but when I say sports, I just mean pro wrestling. And like for
Right.
the selling point for me,
Sports
like
entertainment.
again, yeah, I mean, like I'll be honest, yeah, Peacock had like other scripted things and stuff like that I enjoy that was on there, like if it's like reality TV or whatever, like movies that just came out, like that were in theaters and like they had exclusive rights, and then it's streaming like in a week or two. So like, and that was great. And now ESPN, I mean, it'll just be PLEs, and in context, of course, when we were younger pay-per-views were $50 and $50 in like 2006 or 7. So,
Yep.
but
That
again,
was
like now,
$900.
yeah, basically. And like everyone would
A
go to like
year.
our friend's place and we'd bring our like $5 or whatever to contribute, the $5 that my parents gave us and contribute to like the pay-per-view that our friends' parents allowed them to, buy. Um, And now, of course, like it's $30. So I think people were used to a certain amount, and I can't blame them. Like the WWE Network, 9.99 had everything on. I mean, it was a wrestling fan's wet dream, absolutely. And now it's a little more segmented. So for me personally, I mean, I'll watch it. Like people share passwords all the time, but I do
Yeah,
think that we're gonna reach it. Maybe they'll be cracking down on it more. Who knows? I feel like there have been attempts in the past, and it's like gone up and down, like Netflix and all that kind of stuff. Um, so I do think there probably would be a slight drop. I think there's always this kind of reaction of like, oh, this sucks, and
that's called the shakeout.
yeah, the shakeout.
Yeah, Jeets
So,
out.
It's called it's called the
so
shakeout.
yeah, so we'll see. I mean, it could very well. I mean, like they must have looked at the numbers and stuff before they made this deal to see if this was actually worth it before they pulled the trigger on it. I don't think they were just like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. So we'll see. I think there will be. In terms of the rollout and the PR for this specific thing, I feel like they could have done a better job at explaining where exactly the PLEs are going to show up because they said the streaming service, and then folks didn't know about it potentially being like on their regular cable package for whoever still has cable. Um, and then again, they also have ESPN Plus, so it's like I'm just trying to think of like a regular consumer who's not like so tuned into this. They're like, wait, ESPN, okay, well I have Disney Plus. Does that mean it's going to show up? You know what I mean? So I feel like they need a better job at rolling that out, or at least spelling it out better. And we'll see. They're launching the app at the end of this month, so we'll see if it is gonna be a breeze or if it's gonna be chock full of bugs and issues streaming. Um, so yeah, let me see if there's anything else I want to talk about before we go. You know what? Let's talk about that because like we've been kind of talking about it. So just the fact that in the United States it is fragmented. If you want to like watch stuff, so Raw's on Netflix, NXT's on the CW, SmackDown's on USA, and then PLEs are going to be on ESPN. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like it got too fragmented, like for your viewing experience? Would you prefer like a hub, like a WWE Network or a Netflix, to have them all in ideal world?
In an ideal world, for
I
sure.
channel surfed as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you have to go back because now it becomes a generational thing. You know what I mean? Like a lot of
Yeah.
like kids, like teenagers
You
who,
instant gratification.
yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's definitely going to be a generational gap kind of a thing. Like as far as adaption, because like we've experienced that, and that's just how it was. Like even like a decade ago, well, a little bit over a decade ago. Um,
hmm
so I think we can deal with it being elder millennials or whatever you want to call us. um,
I think we're just millennials. Elder millennials are in their 40s.
okay.
Yeah, and
Well,
we're not in unk status yet.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We're
Somebody's
still
calling us
big bro
unk for
status.
sure.
Oh
No,
yeah.
we're big bro. There's a scale, and that's where we're at. Damn it! Like,
Okay. All right, we ain't unk yet. Okay. Yeah, so but yeah, I mean we've had to do that. We had a cable service to watch, Raw, and then SmackDown was on Fox or UPN or whatever the hell it was
UPN.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um NXT didn't exist and it was like on YouTube for a bit or something like that when it first started. Or am I wrong?
Where NXT?
Did NXT was that packaged with the network? Was that when it debuted? I don't
Hulu.
remember.
It did
It
Initially
have a
show
though,
up on
Hulu, but I
Hulu.
think it was on the network, like season
Hulu.
one
the season 1, like the first version of
with Daniel
NXT.
Bryan, and like a reality show NXT.
Hulu.
Hulu for real? Man, I'm out of the
Let me
loop.
double check this. Hold on. You're probably right. Check it, Jim. First season of NXT began airing on Sci-Fi in February
Oh,
2010,
uh,
and majority of season one cast. Yeah. So it was first on Sci-Fi,
what about the
and
NXT
then
we know?
well, that one was probably on. That was on. I'm pretty sure that was on the network because because the third season, when did they start doing non-contest? Because I feel like the non-contested stuff
Season
was
2.
season 2 or 3. All right. Well, either way, now we're getting sidetracked. But yeah, so it was. So again, like we've been used to like channel surfing and all that kind of stuff. In an ideal world, though, of course, I would take the European deal any day of the week because it's just for pure convenience sake. Like if I want to watch WWE, Netflix, anything that they air, I could just turn it on. Peace of mind, super easy. And again, this is like the WWE Network. Um, I mean, they must have gotten a better deal when because I think the international audience still had the network, and then we had Peacock, and then I guess the network got uh, basically removed, and then they got the Netflix deal. So yeah, in an ideal world, of course, I'd prefer a hub, absolutely. And with the current setup, I mean, I could just watch YouTube clips if I don't see it on in real life, in real time, I gotta say. So it's not the biggest deal, but hopefully maybe there will be one opportunity, well, in like 5 years, I guess, where there might be something that is more universal. We'll see like what they do with SmackDown and all that stuff, because I think they still have like this relationship with NBC Universal, so I don't think they want to get rid of everything. Maybe they'll still give them, Saturday night's main event and that kind of stuff. But yeah, we could move on to the next story. Speaking of Saturday night's main event and people who were big in that day and who also main evented Saturday night's main event, Bret Hart and Gunther. So this story, Bret Hart was basically talking about like the concept of chops and doing that kind of those kinds of moves. He just feels like hurting people for real is bullshit. So, of course, Bret Hart never shied away from giving his opinion on the state of professional wrestling. He often noted in many interviews chops, and he's critiqued Gunther in the past. He recently spoke to the Masked Man show, and Bret provided further insight to his disdain for chops. He said the best wrestling has to pretend to be real. That's what I did. I tried to make it as real as I could. Contrary to that Gunther guy who seems like a nice enough guy when I met him, but I hate wrestlers that hurt each other on purpose. I hate it when you're out there and getting beat up and hurt by a guy for real. Like Chops. Whoever want to fight with a chop? What a waste of time. Ric Flair is famous for bringing the chops the way they are now. My dad used to tell wrestlers at Stampede, nobody ever beat anybody with a chop. It's true. They hurt. They look like shit. They make a big slap sound, but they hurt. When you get chopped by somebody like Ric Flair for a 30-minute match and chops you 15 times, your whole chest the next day is bruises. It hurts to put a shirt on. I used to wrestle Ric Flair and wake up going, why am I hurting so much? Doesn't Ric Flair know it's a show? It's not supposed to be real. I'm not supposed to wake up with a really sore chest. I have no respect for guys that hurt each other all the time. It's just, to me, lazy shit wrestling when guys like Gunther, I've told him this to his face, it's bullshit. When you're hurting somebody for real, you're unprofessional. I wrestled guys and never hurt anybody. And of course, Bret and Gunther shared the ring back in September 2024 on an episode of Raw, with Gunther saying that Goldberg was his favorite wrestler. So he had some thoughts on it. So what do you guys think? Chris, do you agree with Bret's philosophy that wrestling should pretend to be real without actually hurting your opponent? What do you think of chops and the like?
I mean, I get that, but it's not like they're punching themselves in the face and shit, or like kicking themselves in the face or anything like that, like for real. Like I think a chop is like, I mean, like Japanese wrestling is like built on that kind of stuff too. So I mean, is he dismissing an entire subgenre of professional wrestling because it's not like the Western style of wrestling or whatever? So
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I love Bret, but I would say this is an L for him to say that. Big L.
I get it, but you tripping, Unc.
He's on
Yeah,
for real.
and
Yeah, he's on.
I guess he's like grandpa at this point. I don't think he's on. But But like,
He might
yeah,
be OG.
OG.
OG on.
Yeah, that might be. No, it says might just be OG. Yeah. Dang.
Like I think if the wrestlers both agree to do it, I don't see an issue with it. Um, I think it does give it a nice pop, and if people want to do it, I don't think it's a big deal. And it like just like this act, like I know he says like he prides himself on not hurting anybody, but you like as wrestlers though in general, like willingly just throwing your body on a mat, like you're already like hurting yourself, like on purpose. Like you're gonna wake up sore. And I'm sure you probably build up some kind of callus when you keep throwing yourself on your back and that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I feel like there are ways that you get without like just actually slapping people.
I mean,
Um,
he's throwing people off like the steel cages and stuff. I mean, that stuff's not like, oh, I'm just gonna get up, you know.
mhm.
Yeah.
Like your back's probably hurting, all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of a
And
silly
Stone Cold was
comment.
bleeding pretty hard.
Yeah,
Let's ask Stone Cold how he felt after Mania 13.
yeah.
Like,
I
hey, were
mean,
you sore, Steve?
right. I mean,
Did you feel like it was just a show?
if he's talking like about like strikes, I guess maybe, but still, I would still say it's a silly comment that he has every right to make, but I don't agree.
Well, he says whoever won a fight with a chop. Do you feel like just the chop specifically? Do you feel like it's an effective storytelling tool in a match, or do you feel like it's overrated fan service, like a cheap crutch to get people to say woo?
Sure, but I mean
I,
that's the whole idea, though, isn't it? Like, all right, well,
yeah.
it's no different than any other spot of like going off the top rope and doing like a suplex or something like that, a superplex. Um, so it's just business as usual. It's just a different tool that's being used if it's called for in the match. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more of like, especially in like the New Japan or even like AEW style with chops, it's like a test of strength. Like it's not necessarily just for like a cheap pop.
Hmm.
Like it's definitely like a transitional spot, and it does sell later in matches. So I can't feel like it's like too much of a cheap antic. I know like you don't win with it, but it's like okay,
Yeah,
what
it's
if
like
someone gets a chop from hell
yeah,
and
it's
it's
just
just
it's like a good it's a good like accent point. Like
right,
it's like it just adds a little extra zest to your match.
right.
I
What
don't
if
I don't personally see a big deal
what if there's a wrestler that's as big as Zangief and his finisher's just like a one big chop
to the face.
because he could sell it,
Yeah,
you know. So
right.
it's
That's
just
true.
like now what? Now somebody won with a chop.
I mean, Kali was doing it. He was doing like the neck chop stuff. You know what I mean? Ah! So, I mean, again, like it just depends on the wrestler, their move set.
Right.
Sometimes you want to chop, sometimes you're throwing punches and kicks or whatever.
Hmm. So I guess this is kind of in the same vein of what we talked about, like, oh, he's just being unk or whatever. Do you feel like
OG.
or OG, do you feel like should modern wrestlers take criticism from legends like Bret Hart seriously, or do you feel like it's just like a generational clash of styles and expectations, old man yelling at clouds kind of deal?
I think like don't have to listen to everything. I think there's some times where you could tell like there's a little more sincerity towards it.
Hmm.
Like especially just like, oh, I hate chops. Nobody's ever won with a chop. Like, okay, then like what do you suggest for Gunther to do?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Chair
like
shots to the head.
do you want more punches? Like, you know, should he
open
start
face
throwing
chair
more
shot.
euros? Right.
I don't know, because like back then they were taking Bret Hart was involved in anything like that. I don't know. I feel like he probably put his hands up, but they were like obviously guys that just like dome first with a chair shot to the head, blocked with their
Lean into
face.
it.
Yeah, they're like, "Ugh," donk, fucking metal. I don't know.
The best is when they'd sell it like, ugh.
Fall over like a bag of bricks.
Like a headshot in Call of Duty.
Yeah. Wasted. Um, so Brett says it's like unprofessional to hurt someone for real, of course. Where do you feel like you draw the line between stiffness and being reckless?
I think that's up to the wrestler, right? Tell him
yeah,
knock it off.
Yeah.
receipts
Yeah,
are
like,
coming.
yeah, what's the best time to give a receipt?
Right, exactly. So yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, I think when wrestlers are putting together their matches, they kind of tell each other ahead of time, and of course, you're aware of the move sets that they use. If you've seen that wrestler before, so there are things you can expect, and I'm assuming that there's consent amongst both people of what they're going to do in the match.
There better be.
Yeah, because then I don't see what the big issue is, right? So I love Bret Hart too. I do think that he has absolutely every right to his opinion. I think this one I don't know. It's just like if the wrestlers want to do it and people like it, then who cares at that point, right? Like I don't think it's that big of a deal. Um, so with that,
I'm not gonna chop.
you wouldn't chop. What
Nope.
would you do? You gonna be like Bret
European
Hart,
uppercuts like Cesaro
or are you gonna do
and Brian.
what does he call that swing?
The giant swing?
Superman swing or whatever it's called. Yeah,
Cesaro
the giant
swing.
swing.
What is it?
Cesar,
Cesaro.
Giant
just
swing.
Cesar. Yeah, just pick him up by his legs and just start flipping
No.
around in a circle and
No, I'm not from the 40s.
catch wrestling. Get a mustache with some wax in it.
That's all I need.
So,
Wear a singlet like Big Show.
hey, why not? Bring it
Come
I don't
back.
know.
How many wrestlers have a singlet with a single arm singlet now? I don't know how many actually do. We have like the guys who just have like the double strap like a wrestling amateur wrestler, but I feel like there aren't that many with like the Big Show look. um, all right, well, I guess we can move on to the last story. And this one involves, we already talked a little bit about kayfabe, but now with WWE Unreal on Netflix, there's like an official, like, uh, like an official documentary there where basically like WWE's like, here you go. This is what we do. Here's where gorilla position is. Here's what wrestlers feel after the match. They talk about it. They go over it. So Paul Heyman, he has been on a little tour, basically talking about WWE. I think this is for the lead up to SummerSlam. And there was comments about asking his thoughts about WWE and Real on Netflix. So around the time of the initial announcement about WWE Unreal series on Netflix, one of the people who were asked their thoughts about was Paul Heyman. So now that the series is out, Heyman addressed it again during his appearance on the Ariel Helwani show, and this is what he had to say about it. It's a reality of the industry today that I have to accept. I grew up in this business at a time when if you're in a bar and someone walks up to you and says, you're in that fake wrestling business, and he did a southern accent when he said it. No offense to all the people from the South, but if you don't swing, if you don't defend the business and someone else sees it or finds out about it, you're catching an ass kicking and you're getting shipped out of the territory. That's the way it was back then. All these stories you hear of legendary bar fights of guys like Haku ripping people's eyeballs out. Show me how fake this is now, brother. That's how we were taught to defend the business, and we caught the ass kickings if we didn't defend the business. So that's where I grew up. So to now be in a situation where it's so open to where it's not just this is how the magic is done, but we're going to show you the wires and we're going to show you the crew that inserts the wires show you the writing team meeting in which we discuss the wires to do the magic trick. Phew, that's an adjustment for me, and it's an adjustment that I have to make and accept, because if I take the tactic of, wow, I'm not used to this, I'm not used to being so open and transparent about the inner workings and the secrecy. For so long, it was a secret society. It was a closed business, but then again, today, Sammy Gravano does a podcast. Michael Franzese does a podcast. John Alide does a podcast. All these gangsters sitting there going, yeah, so we clipped Mario and Rocco came in the room, and then we had to clip them. I liked Rocco. Yeah, I liked two. We had to kill him. Yeah, and he was my brother-in-law. So all these gangsters are revealing what it is. So it's so far more open and a transparent society, or at least we think it is. And I have to accept Unreal as part of the platform by which WWE is Disney-fied and picks up a streaming deal on ESPN. The way I look at it is this: I'm always going to be like this jump scare when I see a camera behind the scenes, because I'm still not used to it, and I'm not going to have to get used to it, and I'm going to have to get used to it because the train is leaving the station, and I want to be a part of, if not the conductor, I want to be one of the conductors or one of the top advisors to the conductors as to where the train is going. So we talked a little bit about this, and I feel like it's been a while since we have broached the subject. There have been enough episodes in between. So he talks about like defending the business back in the day. Do you feel like kayfabe is officially dead, or has it evolved into something new?
It's
Something new.
It's definitely evolved, yeah. Because I mean, now, like back then, you didn't have internet and social media, and like there's too much room now for stuff to leak and be shown and all these things. Everybody has a camera. It's not just closed door, just at the match. Maybe somebody random had like a video camera in the 90s, 80s, or whatever.
Curtain call.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, the curtain call. Like it was like few and far between that stuff like that was happening. So there was probably a bunch of people who still thought it was real on some level. Whatever aspect they thought was real. They drank the Kool-Aid, so to speak. But I think it's just harder now to kind of maintain that kind of secrecy, especially with again, social media and the internet. So this is just a next step for them to like say, all right, well, this is how we do it. There's just more detail. You get to see a different side of everybody, all the wrestlers, all the people who are involved. So maybe it's interesting to people, because again, we're 2025. I don't think there's anybody that necessarily thinks that pro wrestling is not a predetermined event.
Right.
So
And I agree with that. And I feel like even back then, I mean, think about like Wrestling with Shadows, for example, right? Like that was a documentary with Bret Hart, and that was talking about the business the whole time, like the whole like knocking Vince out, and like
We seen the locker room.
yeah, seeing the locker room, like the Undertaker and all those guys. Like Mankind isn't like some freak from a asylum,
Yeah.
like.
He's not like sitting in a corner scratching his
Yeah,
face,
exactly. Like he finishes the match and then just goes back to like scratch his face in a boiler room for the rest
eating
of the night.
eating popcorn, drinking a Gatorade.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's Mick Foley. It's a guy in a mask, right? So, yeah, I feel like there was kayfabe, and I do think that it's morphed into something where I mean, it's like the things that we currently kind of talked about, like this Karrion Cross thing, the Seth Rollins injury angle where people thought he was injured for real. It's like now
Told you.
kayfabe has like morphed into like we know like it's a work, but now like there are these angles that kind of get like worked into a story
Or
where we don't know if this is real. Like, is there an actual contract dispute? Is he actually injured? Like, those are the kinds of things you're talking about, and that makes it interesting. And again, like you said, no one at least I don't think there's someone on this planet who still thinks that wrestling isn't predetermined. Maybe there
What do
is.
you mean?
Like,
I'm
there's
sure
always
there
got to be somebody. Yeah,
are.
I'm sure.
What do you mean?
No, sorry, news.
Uh,
But yeah, so
Oops.
I feel like, yeah, I feel like it's just morphed into something different. Um, and yeah, I just had like a brain fart about where I was going. I had this whole interesting spiel and I just forgot about it.
Nice.
um, but yeah, so like I said, like the Karrion Cross thing, the Seth Rollins stuff, like it's just morphed into something different. And I feel like with Unreal, the documentary, I think there was a level of reality there. There was absolutely a level of reality there, but I think it was still like WWE, what, because it's WWE produced, so they're still the ones showing you like what they want you to see backstage. Like there was an episode, like I think the most interesting one was the CM Punk stuff. They did this little behind the scenes, like going over the Elimination Chamber, and he definitely should be a producer when he retires because he did that. Do you guys remember the Elimination Chamber match? And it was John Cena versus CM Punk at the end. And basically, he had like that whole finish. That was like his idea, was like getting put in the STF. Seth Rollins was leaving, and then he had his neck on the rope, and then comes back to like curb stomp him. I think, yeah, and then he pulls him back, and then does the STF. Like that was a cool spot. So yeah, like there's like you see those kinds of things, and like actual real emotion, like him main eventing WrestleMania. They show that with Paul Heyman, that kind of stuff. I think it's just like a nice thing to, I don't know. I think it's a nice thing to see. And again, it's not like something where if people don't want to see it, like no one is like strapping you a chair and play. If you just want to maintain that level of disbelief, anytime you watch it, you don't want to hear about it. You don't want to hear about it. I think the removal of the press conferences can kind of help with that, because at least then it doesn't give folks like, because like that thing, that critique that I had for like the John Cena thing, and same press conference, The Rock, like John Cena's maintained character, and then The Rock, Cena or whatever, like just giving this whole shtick about like uh like this is a story and all that kind of stuff. And then John Cena's trying to maintain being a bad guy in the same press conference. Like, removing the press conference, I think will be a good thing just to maintain that level of disbelief. And again, it's a thing that you don't have to watch, um, but yeah, and
they
in
like
the yeah, go ahead.
no. I was saying, but it's a thing not to watch, but yet they try to make us watch it.
Leave it
Yeah,
to the professionals in AEW who don't break character.
Yeah,
yeah,
we just start 2.5 hours later.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
think I think
yeah.
another thing that I guess like stuff like this kind of shows is that the people who are the wrestlers are real. Not necessarily the wrestling
Mhm.
itself, but the wrestlers and all these people who are behind the scenes are real, and they have real emotion and all these things, and they're actually being affected by what's happening, in front of the camera and behind
Right.
it. So
Exactly. I mean, like the Cody Crybaby stuff, the Cody, we want Cody Rhodes stuff, like that was real, like a real genuine, like Cody did want to like do this for his dad. Like that is a real thing that he wants to do. The match itself and when it happens, how it happens, of course, that is predetermined. But like the emotion from that, like the story, that the thread of Cody's journey as like just being this like mid card wrestler most of his career, and then I mean the whole thing, like starting a new company, coming back, having this crazy ride that he's having right now, being the top guy. I mean, what a story, and that's all real. Like his struggles were real, and you're seeing that woven into the stories. Like it helps, it adds to it. Um, so do you feel like in terms of like the wrestlers, and I talked about like maintaining mystique and character protection, kind of like the Undertaker. Do you think wrestlers should still maintain that level of mystique and character protection, or do you feel like full transparency is the future of the business?
I think you can weave, being in character with certain things that are, out of character or whatever. Or, like if they're talking about some kind of a personal thing, but if they're asked about the match or something, they're still selling it and how they're genuinely feeling and how the match should be going or whatever. So I think it's just you have to just thread a needle and kind of walk this tightrope of, still selling the match. If it's like MJF, for instance, when he was
Yeah, he's
interviewed
really
by
good.
Ariel Awani, like he was, uh, he is in character. I think even outside, so he's doing the whole kayfabe thing. So he does it really well. So yeah, I mean, I think it's just supposed to be this, tightrope thing now.
Hmm.
Is he working or is he shooting?
Right.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that makes it interesting, right? Like you don't
Right.
know
I don't,
what's real and what isn't.
I don't think Unreal really like other than like writers room stuff and Michael Ace being like, well, what about Jews?
Yeah, exactly.
but like all the gorilla reactions, it's like they walked through gorilla 4 times and they put cameras through gorilla 4 times a freaking show now.
Yeah.
And then it's like all these docs, like it shows everybody in gorilla watching stuff. So it's like something like that. Who cares? Like a payoff of a match. Who cares? It's like you should see how the entertainer feels for the payoff of whatever the buildup was for. So it's just like,
And I also feel like even some of like that drama or that stuff that you see behind the scenes, I feel like that also story or it makes it more interesting. I'll say that like the Tiffany Stratton Charlotte Flair stuff was another part like of an episode there that like she challenged Tiffany Stratton for it, and then when that happened, it became more interesting because there was that comments and that kind of stuff. So you know predetermined story, but real like issue that came up between them, and then it adds a layer of interest to it, for WrestleMania going in. Um,
and she chipped her veneers.
yeah, yeah. I think that was blood though. I think it looked like she chipped her, but
Oh,
it was like blood in between her teeth, and yeah, because actually in Unreal. They were like, "Hey, did she like bust her tooth or something?" When because they were showing like Triple H watching the match, and they were
yeah.
like, "Oh, I think she broke her tooth or something." And then she came in and she was apologizing. She was like, "No, I was just bleeding." Um, so yeah, I mean, when we watched it, I also thought, I'm like, "Damn, she's missing half her
She's
teeth." I did it for the Rock.
Rocky
Um,
Balboa.
went from
yeah,
Minnesota to Wisconsin.
yeah. So, what do you think about like the modern wrestling fan? Do you feel like they're more invested in the performance, or do you feel like they're invested in like the illusion of pro wrestling? Do you feel like the balance has shifted? Do you know what I mean when I say that?
I think it's
Yeah, I go ahead.
It's just dependent on if we're talking like casual fan who'll catch a show if it's at the Allstate versus like somebody who would, we would consider a mark or a smart or whatever, and like ourselves, right? Like
Oh,
consuming,
never.
yeah, consuming, all forms of it. So being online, reading the tea, following all these wrestlers on social media, reviewing stuff, et cetera, et cetera. So, um, yeah, I would just say I think there's more of those kinds of fans now. I think though that they're invested in the social media stuff and just kind of
Hmm.
keeping up with a lot of that stuff rather than just going to the show and just seeing it on TV.
Right.
Showing themselves how big of jabronis they really are.
Hmm. Yeah, I think the interesting thing that like Paul Heyman brought up, and I think like that kind of encapsulates how like the fans like look at it now. Like I don't think there are people in the crowd with like a pocket knife who are wanting to shank John Cena because he thinks he legitimately like is like, yeah, screw you guys, and the guy legitimately pissed off. Like
September 5th.
yeah. So you know, like people aren't invested in. Well, I guess they didn't think it was an illusion, so I guess that wouldn't be the mindset. But people don't do that at shows
Right.
now. At least most shows, you have people sometimes who run into the ring and then they get beat up by wrestlers, like at the Hall of Fame when Bret Hart got tackled. But I mean, like that's a whole different story.
That's so
Um,
funny.
oh man, that was a great angle. I think like well, yeah, I'll talk about it later.
It's so funny.
But yeah, so like different angle. Like Paul Heyman was talking about like John Cena as a heel, for example, right? Like he's like it's so fascinating. He says because like the crowd knows their role when the cameras are on, they're booing them. They're like loud boos, like louder than anybody. Boos somebody. And there were a
The
number of times
words.
when John Cena was doing that as a heel, and then when the show ends and then he finished his match or whatever, he was at the last segment. Then everyone's like clapping, cheering for him. It's like we know, like we
Yeah, good
understand the
job.
role. Yeah, exactly. Like thank you for the performance, for
You got
for
us.
for contributing. Like for making us like enjoy these 2 or 3 hours that we're here. Like people get it. Like they're there to see a show. We're doing it because we want to participate, make some noise, get a reaction out of the wrestlers. Like it's fun. Like it's like uh, a thing that I talk about with like other folks who like we go to the Renaissance Fair, for example, right? And then these people like we go to the joust, and in the joust, you are in an audience and you are watching these guys on each corner, and they all have their stuff. Like they're not actually taking a joust and stabbing the guy in this fight to the death. Like no one's getting their head decapitated every single Sunday, right? Like we know it's a performance, but we enjoy it, and like the people that we would go lose themselves in the performance, like you're feeling something, but it's not real. Like I'm like that's basically what like wrestling is, what WWE is. It's the same thing. Like you enjoy this. This is very similar, except these guys are also like falling off ladders and like legit like going through tables and shit. um
Like people watching Love Island and just having all these conspiracy theories on TikTok and stuff. It's no
right,
different,
exactly.
No way.
ladies.
Yeah. Like I mean like reality TV. I mean that's another thing. Like there's an aspect of reality to it, but producers definitely put their thumb on the scale on a lot of it. Like it's not complete real competition because maybe they favor someone over the other person and make challenges in a certain way or whatever to get the outcome they want. Similar, very similar. And people don't care; they still watch it. They enjoy the drama or what person slept with this person. Um, so yeah, like for me personally, I don't mind the behind the scenes access because like even when when I was younger, even 2006, 2007, I read books. Like I enjoyed like Bret Hart's 800-page book. Like that was great. I mean, all the documentaries and all that stuff. Um, it was just a part of like my enjoyment of the product was just like knowing how the actual wrestlers feel, like and again, it also builds up to like these issues. Like the Summer of Punk was from real frustrations with the company. Same thing with Daniel Bryan. I mean, all these guys. There's like a element of reality to it that we think is interesting because like that affects what shows up on TV. Um, so yeah. So do you feel like the Disney-fication of WWE, as Heyman put it, do you feel like it's necessary for future growth, or do you feel like it erases too much of wrestling's gritty identity? Like, what do you think about that aspect?
I think it kind of in a weird way slices out a identity for somebody like AEW who can lean more into being more of the punk rock version or true wrestling kind of a show versus like in this case WWE has become this juggernaut of a company likened to like Disney or whatever. So I mean, it benefits WWE from a financial standpoint because they get all these deals and advertising and all this stuff. And obviously, at the end of the day, they are a company, and companies are trying to make money. So this is their logical kind of thing. But it does make interesting cases for just wrestling in general. So,
Hmm. David, any thoughts?
WWE has turned into like its own subculture, like even in the wrestling world.
Hmm.
yeah.
So like they're because like also they just I think it's also just like the fact that they bought every library that exists that they could, and then like over the years it's like you can only have so many so many old episodes of like actual matches and cards to the point where it's like okay, like for example buying WCW, they picked up like a bunch of like interviews, biographies, and they like building onto that, and then with their new stars and everybody else, it's like how do they make them bigger?
Hmm.
That like they got so much invested in them to be in the top company that it's like, well, how do you make this? How do you present them better? Like, what do you do for this? What do you do for that? And
Yep.
I think like for example, like Total Divas and all that stuff, it gave people that like happen to be by the TV to watch wrestling. They're like, oh, they do this too. Like, okay, now I know why I root for Nikki Bella or something,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah, and again, it makes them more interesting. Like they get like the Bellas, for example, like they would get like 5 minutes of TV time, and then they had a dedicated 1 hour, or however long it was, 30-minute time slot to get this different aspect of their lives and their perspectives, even if it is maybe a little bit scripted too. I'm sure, it's
All of
another
John
angle.
Cena's stuff is actually scripted. He's not that weird.
Oh man, I gotta watch that shit. Because I've just seen clips too, but John Cena seemed wild in some of the clips that I've seen.
It's
Um,
like, yeah, this guy really is a robot.
yeah, I'm gonna miss him. But I think that's a wrap for this episode of the Chi-Town Shoot podcast. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, rate us, and leave your feedback. Tune in next time for more wrestling madness. Until then, keep marking out.